anything in the chat, could you read that out for us? And if nobody's willing to share some success, that's all right. We can move on as well. But I just thought it would be a beneficial time for some people to share what works well for them. Okay. So, Kirsten, anything in the chat? Oh.
Engaging tasting experiences.
Engaging tasting experiences, absolutely. So we see exclusive events, tastings, and discounts and promotions as ways that a lot of wineries are using to entice these club members. So I encourage you to think cognizantly. So are you focused on your local club members or your web club signups when you are thinking about these initiatives and how you're obtaining these customers? So just sit with that thought while we go through the rest of the presentation here today. So why we want to shift your focus to online purchasers. So this can help you establish long-term relationships, and it allows you to remarket to these customers. So a few ways that you can do this is by offering discounted or flat rate shipping, personalization, cart carrots, email marketing, and incentives for creating an account. So these are just various ways and features that we have on Commerce7's platform that would help to encourage the online purchasing within your organization. I'd also love to point out the statistics that we have here on the bottom screen. So throughout the presentation today, I will be pulling in data from our data book so that you can see the insights that we have available to us among all the wineries on our platform, and that you can use this data to your advantage. So first and foremost on the bottom here, so we measured our 10 wineries with the lowest email capture rate. So they had an average capture rate of about 3.3%, and they were able to sell about 18 cents online for every dollar sold in a tasting room. So for every 100 people that came into the tasting room, only 3 people, they gathered their email address, and then that translated to about 18 cents online for every dollar in the tasting room. Alternatively, our top 10 wineries with the highest email capture rate have about 69% of the average email capture rate. This means out of 100 people, they're getting the email addresses of 69 of those people. And for every dollar sold in a tasting room, that's translating to 78 cents online. So this example is a perfect description of exactly why you need to be making these in-person customers your online customers as well. So now actionable tips. So how do you implement these things? So reduce your voluntary churn. So I think it's extremely important for everyone here to be using your specific customer insights, so your cancellation reasons specific to your winery, to propel your existing customer relationships or make adjustments to your existing packages. So in this slide here, you can see in your report section in the club reports, there is an area where you can see cancellations by reason. So this is an extremely valuable tool because if you're frequently seeing too much wine, perhaps you should offer a smaller package or lower the minimum quantity in each package. If you're frequently seeing financial reasons as a reason for cancellation, maybe allow your customers to skip shipments if you don't already do so, or reduce the amount of wine that's required to order. The ability to skip a shipment or to reduce the quantity could be the reason that someone stays a customer for years to come. So personalization is another great way to entice your online purchasers. So this is a perfect example here. So our first-time customer. So on the left-hand side, we see an example of someone who purchased and then created an account. So this is their second time visiting the website. We see, welcome back, Zach. Because you purchased this wine, you might also like to try this wine. So here we're meeting the customer exactly where they are at their buying journey. We're meeting the customer exactly where they're at on their buying journey. So on the left-hand side, we have a repeat customer. So again, it says, welcome back, Zach, and join the Spectra Club. So maybe Zach has made 3 or 4 purchases. He's someone who really likes our wine and has come back for more through the website. So we want to meet him with that proposition. Hey, maybe you want to join our wine club, because these are exactly the type of customers that you can be marketing to and specifically marketing to on your website. Another personalization is club member personalization. So here in this screenshot, we can see that Zach's shipment is about to ship. So we can market that directly to him. If a club member logs into the website, they see their club package or member-only discounts or events. These are things that you can do to make that experience even better for your customers, and again, meet them where they are on their buying journey. So at the bottom of this page, I'd love to point out another extremely important statistic, that all add to cart clicks on Commerce7's platform, 47% came from a personalized page, despite less than 15% of Commerce7 wineries utilizing a personalization tool. So that just speaks to how powerful these tools truly are and how everyone should be taking advantage of this. So personalized pages convert 5.93 times more often than non-personalized pages. And this is something we definitely think you should be investing in. So in order to get these up on your website, contact your web designer and they will be happy to implement these personalization blocks. And we can also assist with this through the support team. If you have questions about how this process works, please just send us an email and we'll be happy to answer, or in the chat right now, we're happy to answer as well. So this is another important topic to cover. So targeted marketing. So who do you want to attract? So we found that it's much more likely that an individual will join your club after they have visited your tasting room. So we recommend using queries to tag the customers who have made a POS order and market to them with an email campaign. So this is an example of a query that you could use for this purpose. So here you can see that the channel is equal to POS, the email marketing subscription is subscribed, and the customer was created greater than January 1st. So this customer has been someone who's purchased within the last month in the tasting room. And this is someone we want to reach out to say, hey, thanks for visiting. Would you like to take 20% off your next purchase? It's a great way to translate someone from being a tasting room customer to an online purchaser. So this is a great way to target those customers, and we highly recommend incorporating something like this into your marketing initiative. So when do you want to attract? So this is another extremely important point. In our data book, we mentioned that 4.17 is the average number of customer orders before they would sign up for a club membership. So in having that information, you can create a dynamic customer tag based on the order count being greater than or equal to 4. And this will apply dynamically on anyone who reaches this level of orders. And you can create an email marketing campaign to these people specifically offering a club membership because you know that they're the most likely to enter into a club membership. So you're not just sending out a massive email blast. It's specifically targeted to the people that are almost on the verge or are ready to be joining a club. Another topic is discounted shipping. So this example we're all very familiar with. I'm sure everyone's experienced this in some type of capacity. If you see a product cost $10, but shipping is $2.39, you're less likely to purchase than if you see $12.39 with free shipping. So I think that it's really important to point out that 49% of consumers said that they've abandoned the shopping cart due to the price of shipping. So as much as possible, you should be waiving or discounting shipping charges, especially in the wine industry, due to how expensive these shipping charges can be. So as a winery, if you can find a way to manage that, you can really capitalize on these online sales. So ways that you can adjust your shipping costs, there's a variety of ways you can do this in the system. So you can do this with discounts or promotions, or you can use cart carrots to increase average order value and encourage shipping discounts as well, which you can see in the picture here. And then you could also consider building the cost of shipping into your product costs. So it's not, it doesn't seem that way to your customer. This is something that we see lots of companies do, and it does definitely increase online sales. So something to consider. We also highly recommend allowing maximum customization. So the average increase in order for customers who are able to edit their shipments is about 18% of an increase. So if you don't allow your customers to edit their shipments, you're missing out on that 18% of additional revenue that you could be making if you had that customization. I think it's extremely important to note that within our subscription clubs, there is the ability to moderate what happens with these clubs, and you can kind of mitigate what products are sold in the clubs. I do want to highlight that if you are setting default or minimum products, it does interfere with our personalization algorithm. So if you do not have any default or minimum products, our system will pull the products that are most likely to be purchased by that customer. But if you have default or minimum products, those will automatically be pulled into the customer's package, and therefore they won't be receiving a customized package specifically based on their interests if you do have a wide variety of wines. So we highly recommend leaving these at 0 if at all possible, just so that you are creating the most customized experience possible for your customers by using the technology available to you. And our personalization tools are extremely powerful, like I mentioned earlier. So this is something that we highly recommend leaving up to the system to decide. So on the left-hand side here, you can see that about 73.9% of our wineries do allow customization, but we do really want to encourage that a little bit further so that our algorithm can do what it does best. So here we can also see that the automatic system selects products personalized to customer. I want to point out that the frequency of shipments as well is something that is an ability to customize. So if you don't have a variety of options here for your customers, maybe consider adding a couple more, because you never know what someone would want from their wine subscription, right? And if you have an offering that you might not have thought was popular and becomes popular, it's something to play around with. And once you get that data, you can see what works best for your customers. So my last and most important point is to encourage associates to capture email addresses. So this is something that is integral, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation. And we asked the top 10 wineries, what are you doing differently to be able to capture so many email addresses versus everyone else on the platform? And what they came back with was an extreme internal focus on the importance of capturing these email addresses. So from the day one, as soon as they're trained, these associates know that capturing an email address is #1 priority in that transaction. So in a way that you can do this to remind your associates is by creating a website notice on your POS, so that anytime an associate is logged into the POS, it would remind them to capture the email address as shown here. So you can set up these notices in both your admin panel and your POS, and that can all be done within the settings of the admin panel of Commerce7. All right, so those are my very brief tips for you on how to increase your revenue and average spend on each order, but we're more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has about the session or about any of these things. So please feel free to unmute yourself, or please feel free to put your questions in the chat and we can go over anything that comes up. Yeah, that is a little bit of a difficult situation, Betty. I think that the higher priced wines might not be pulled in because they're less frequently purchased. So the algorithms do pull based on frequency of purchasing, unless there's another reason that you found for that. And just while we're waiting for other questions, I'm going to put in here the registration link for next week's Retraining Friday, as well as the link to download the data book. So just while we're waiting on additional questions. Yeah, and you more than can add any wine that you're releasing or anything that you want to market. Feel free to. We want to make sure that you're aware that that does impact the algorithm. And then Sarah's asking, would it be best to pull a report, query, or tag to find the best way to contact members who canceled the club within the year to reach out? I think you could. Sorry, Kirsten, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a query with the club membership condition of the cancel date, and then put it into, after you run the query, you can assign a customer tag to that segment, and then use our campaign tools to send to that customer tag. So yeah, it would be a combination of the query and tag functionality, and then the trigger of the actual messaging would be through the campaigns feature.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Ole's asking, to use all of the customized features tailored to your customers, do you have to ship from C7?
No, the fulfillment warehouse that you use or ship out of does not affect the personalization or customization functionality. Yeah, so we send the data over the same way to ship compliant and then to your fulfillment warehouse, regardless of where you ship out of. The personalization is to display the correct products to that customer based on where they are in the customer journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not sure if you're talking about subscription clubs, but do they transfer over to ship compliant as a club or daily order? It would subscription orders will go over as a club order to ship compliant. It is classified in our system as a club transaction. We have had issues with the Shippo integration, especially with club orders. When purchasing labels, some orders don't show up as available. Is this an issue with Shippo or Commerce7? How can it be resolved? The Shippo integration or the Shippo app, for the most part, should be working. We haven't had any large scale outage on that functionality. So if you can send in this specific scenario to support commerce7.com, and we can kind of go through the specific order that's not showing up and try to investigate what's going on there. But I think the overall functionality is working as expected. If you add just one wine as a minimum, the rest of the wines are added by the algorithm. Yes, that's the case. Yeah, you're interfering a little bit. I guess if you have default or minimum quantity wines, but the rest are filled in using the algorithm that we have configured. It's a really powerful algorithm because we're aggregating purchasing behavior across, over 700 wineries on our platform. So the predictive analysis that we're able to make do convert at high clip, as Margaret mentioned earlier. Cool.
Awesome. Looks like there's nothing else in the chat from what I can see.
Yeah, I think the last few minutes have been dying down. Maybe one more minute.
Mm-hmm. If anybody would like to unmute themselves, so that's easier, please feel free to. We're more than happy to answer any questions. Okay.
What does the algorithm do if the person only purchases sweet wines, but you don't currently have any sweet? So the analysis that the algorithm is running and the sort of variables and factors that it's considering, it's looking at frequency, purchase sizes, types of wines. So it's taking in a lot of different variables into account, and then picking the best product that fits those variables. So it'll just look for the best fit item in that scenario, and it'll pull in other factors that are not the wine varietal or the wine type, and pick the product based on that.
Okay, so Sarah's asking, for all personalization features mentioned earlier on the website, is that all done by web designer or something we can access through settings? So it's kind of a mixture of both. So the web designer will need to input a personalization block on your website, and you're actually able to do the personalization within the admin panel in the settings once that's completed. And we have lots of documentation on how you can do that. And I can send you links to that too, Sarah, if you'd like. Any follow-up questions too, happy to answer.
Yeah.
Awesome, Sarah. I'll send that to you once we're done today. Awesome.
I think that's all the questions that we're getting today.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for joining. It's been great to have you, and really hope you enjoyed this. If you found value, please let us know. And if you would like to see other information shown in these free training Fridays, please let us know as well. We'd love all kinds of feedback, so please let us know.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Awesome presentation.
Thank you.